to start to get the steering column sorted. So 2 jobs. I've got one big bearing race which has got to go up into there, and the smaller bearing race here needs to get driven down into there. So that's the first job. Right, I've just put the front mudguard on, didn't film it because essentially I'm just doing a few bolts up. Had to do a bit of fettling on this side bolt here because the holes didn't quite line up inevitably, but I've got all that done. So the next job is to get that into here. This is going to be first. Kind of hope this is just... seem to go on without too much stress. The dust cover's tight, can't move, so I'm assuming that means that the bearing's on straight. Okay, so everything's bearings on, fully greased up, and the grease in the bottom of there as well, and the top bearings are in, fully greased up. So what I'm now going to try and do is put it up inside, hold it with one hand and get the upper bearing race screwed on, and at least get it in a position where it stays in. And the fact that it just falls easily means it's on the right kind of tension. So now I need to put the locking nut on, sorry, the washer and then the locking nut. Unfortunately, that seems to have tightened it up, so we need to loosen that off again, loosen off the tension and somehow keep one set and then tighten the other one up. So after a fair bit of toing and froing, trying to get the bottom nut loose enough and the top tight enough, I think we're finally there. It's all very tight at the top there, but when I let go of that, it just falls to the side. So I think that's good enough. So I've just quickly put the headset on, went on fairly easily, just had to thread up the different control cables and wiring through. Headset's not touching the leg shields. So here's my thoughts about getting the handlebar grips on. Obviously what I'd like to do is have the Piaggio sign at the top. So in order to do that and get that in the right position, put the throttle tube in, and I've just temporarily put a pin through for the throttle cable holder so I can put it up against this stop. So when the throttle is in its sort of closed position, that stop is going to catch there. So what I can now do is, when that's in its open position, that'll be, I want the top. So what I'm going to do now is to mark on here, on the top, position where I want the Piaggio sign. So on the clutch gear selector side, again I want the Piaggio emblem on the top. So to line that up, I'm just going to line up the neutral. Don't know whether that's going to come out in the camera, but I've got the neutral marker there and the neutral marker there, they're lined up. So I now want on the top there is where I want the Piaggio sign. Right, you can see if I can get the grips on. So I want the Piaggio sign to line up with that blue line there, which will put it right on the top of the handlebars. So for now I'm going to try an old trick from my mountain biking days and use some hairspray, don't tell Tracy. Put the hairspray in there so it can slide on and then it becomes sticky and holds. If it doesn't work, then I guess I'm just going to have to pull them off and buy some proper glue. Smells pretty. There we go, that was alright. That all went on fine. Just gonna have to leave it now, see if it goes tacky, and then they're sorted. So I've just sorted out and added the cables for the gear shifters, including the plastic top hats that retain the cables. I've added in the front brake cable, which will go through there. I've added in the speedo cable, and I'm just going to fit or run the wiring through anyway for the right hand side the right hand side wiring. So much slower progress than I thought. That bit was easy, pushing the switches and all the wires through. This wire stays up in the headset, and then there's two, one for the horn and one must be for rear lighting or something, not quite sure. Those both go down there behind the throttle cable but in front of the main harness. I had an absolute bloody nightmare trying to get them in. It's really tight. Eventually I had to put oil on the outside of these sheaths to get them in, but eventually we've got there. So the tube is in, and I've housed the The front brake cable is through, it's locked in against its stop inside there, and the brake cable is nice and free, so that's all good. So now we want a flat washer first, then the wavy washer, and then finally we're going to put the housing on and log this in. I think I'm going to put some grease around inside the groove on this just to keep it running smoothly. So that all went together quite nicely. What I have done though is when I first put it together, the throttle was really stiff, and I think the wave washer was just too domed, so I've flattened it very slightly, and now the throttle's running much smoother. And if I open the throttle and pull on the throttle cable down at the carburettor end, it returns back. So I think that's good to go. There's not really much play, so hopefully that'll be okay. So I'm just dropping the first washer on. If I turn it so that the hole's at the top and the pinhole is at the top there, so that will go there. Just need to locate the two shifter cables. Right, so I'm going to work on the front brake and the clutch levers now. So I think I've got all the bits correct. I managed to salvage some of the bits, in fact almost all of the bits. So when it goes in position, it will be this kind of stepped half threaded bolt, then a wavy washer followed by a flat washer, and those go on top of the lever. And underneath the lever there is a smaller washer which only fits over the threaded bit, and then it's actually a nylock nut underneath that, and I've got also a new barrel connector to go on the end of the cable. So let's see how that lot goes together. I need to position the washers, wavy washer, flat washer, smaller flat washer, slide that in, next job. I'm hoping a bit of grease will hold them in place. I'm wondering if I can hold the flat washer in place underneath with a screwdriver as slide these in. So that looks perfect now. That's really, really tight, and there's just a tiny, tiny bit of play, and that's lovely and loose. So happy with that. Need to do the same on the front brake cable side.